Hey, thanks, Al. So this is our team. We go next. So we are running short of time. So this app is basically what we're trying to make is that sometimes we come to office, sometimes we come to work, and there's sometimes we have a neutral mood, but sometimes we have extremes, like we are too happy or too depressed or struggling. So it feels like, hey, is there a way where we can anonymously just check in our mental health? Like, hey, just no one's looking, just want to check in there, and you know people like managers, HRs, they can see the trend, like how the team is doing. So that was the idea behind it, where we can just do a daily check, and maybe once we check, uh, the result could provide some guidance on, hey, here are some additional materials. Maybe if I'm depressed or if I'm feeling too challenged with the technology, here are the additional resources you can go to. So that's where we're coming from. So this app is a very simple app. It doesn't take more than 30 seconds for the users or employees to check in their mental health and other attributes. So you can check the moods, good, neutral, or struggling, and then based on the choice you made, you will get the next option. Workload, how's the workload, high, medium, low, technology issues, software, PC, and there's more scope, which we'll talk later, where we can expand to these options, and finally location, like remote or office. So that way we can capture these responses and see the trends, especially for someone who's an HR or manager. Um, I will let Jay go here to take you guys behind the scenes, like how did we actually build the app?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, Trent. So we built this with Power Apps. We we are using SharePoint list as the database. If if this were to be built out fully, it would be using the Dataverse, so that it could be exported as a solution, and also so that there could be additional security placed on the rows, so that this data could be truly anonymous, and not everyone would have to be given access to the same SharePoint list. We are displaying this app through Teams and also through Viva Connections. So we thought of it similar to the Microsoft Health check-in that's used for COVID currently, where users could go in, check in, and really we conceptualize it as kind of an optional thing that would just be there for employees to use to get resources, and then also for that information to be aggregated up for use by HR and management for leadership decisions based on how employees are doing. So again, we're using Power Apps, SharePoint, Viva. In the future, we thought about using Power Automate to send emails to remind users if maybe they haven't checked in a while to go check in if they feel like it. Also to send notifications to maybe a manager of a department if they're getting too many employees that are struggling in a certain department, or having technology issues, or for IT to be notified when a certain number of users are having specific kinds of technology issues. So really, that's where we were conceptualizing using Power Automate to send all sorts of notifications and do things in the background to alert the appropriate parties when something is going wrong based on the data that we're getting from the app.
All right, I think next is Sarah to take through assumptions and future enhancements.
Yeah, so to Jake's point, we were kind of thinking on how could we build on top of this, and looking at what some of the other teams did, it kind of mimicked what we were thinking too. You guys just made it a little bit further. But yeah, definitely using Power Automate to send reminders, leveraging Power BI, doing some type of dashboard for HR and managers to view the overall wellness. And then also, taking a step further underneath the software category, is it related to certain applications? Maybe it's not just Microsoft applications, maybe it's Workday. So kind of gaining a little bit more details from a software perspective. And then the last piece is from a mood perspective, if it is anything related to extreme moods, maybe we use Power Automate to return to the booking page, which, you know, one of the other groups leverage within Power Virtual Agent, and then having them do a live chat with an agent. So very similar to a lot of other ideas from the group. But with that, love to turn it over to Tony, who's going to showcase what the app looks like, even coming into Viva Connections.
All right, so like we said, we did leverage Power Apps in order to create the application. And really what we were thinking here is we want this app to be available to where all of our end users are going, right? And really the way that our engineering team is kind of driving us to go is to have that intranet portal page available, not only just within SharePoint Online, but also leveraging Viva Connections like we were talking about. So just to kind of show it from the SharePoint side of things, so you can see that we're giving the users or the admins that are designing this page two different options. The first one that we're giving there is just really using a web part here embedded into this page where this user can go to the daily wellness check-in, they can click on the option, they can just do it really quickly for them. And then once they're done, depending on the answers, you can see that we have some resources for them, whether that's mental health resources, technology resources, or hybrid workplace guidance. Now, what's also really great about this, like I was saying earlier, is that we also want this within Viva Connections as well. So we have this as our homepage for Viva Connections, which this is what's going to be displayed, but we also are leveraging the dashboard as well. So what we're thinking here to even go even beyond this is that we can actually tap into an ACE developed card in order to have them be able to do the exact same thing that we just did with this Power App right here, but we can also have that in the dashboard. So you can see that we just added in just a quick link into the application. So if I click on that, brings me directly to the same exact application directly within Power Apps. And so if I go into Teams, of course, I'm under Viva Connections. And again, exact same experience, consistent between SharePoint and Teams within the Teams Viva Connections application. And you can see down here that it's within the dashboard and everything. Now, what's also great about having this within the dashboard, and really what we're thinking is that if we can create an adaptive card as well too that can customize this, this will also be leveraged within the mobile version as well too of Viva Connections. So again, it's consistent. We're in Teams, we're in the mobile app, we have the dashboard, we have the application directly within our mobile, our tablets, and within any desktop machines as well too.
And Tony, if you don't mind, just click through the app all the way one time. I just want to make sure that we show the last screen there.
Absolutely.
So that was how we were conceptualized displaying the resources. That's obviously a rudimentary version of it, but the idea is to dynamically give them different resources based on their responses, and then also have additional processes going in the background based on the responses.
And what I liked about what the team was discussing here is thinking about kind of the next version, whether I think somebody else had kind of built out that bot experience, but making sure that the users had another way to connect with, whether it's a groom bot or even with a live chat with someone as well, depending on, the things that they might be going through, might help to leverage some of the resources that we all have available to us if we just bring it and present it in kind of a more digestible way or kind of upfront way.